What's up, friends? Welcome back to the Chromebook Classroom Podcast. Great to be with you today. We're going to be discussing my 10 favorite links for May 2023, which is going to include a whole bunch of links from the Google I/O conference, which took place yesterday. Hope you're doing well. The end of the school year is not far away. One of the schools I work with on a regular basis only has, I think, 14 more days of school left. Everybody's very excited and very antsy to get out there. We just opened up the swimming pool yesterday. It is green and cold, so probably I wouldn't recommend swimming yet, but it takes a little bit of time to get it ready for the year. All the kids are very excited about jumping in there. Baseball is underway. It feels like summer is almost upon us, which is great news. So we're going to get into some links and things today. One quick note: for the first time, I am posting the podcast on YouTube as a video feed as well. So if you want to see what I'm talking about and the articles that I'll be sharing, you can check it out on YouTube. youtube.com/JR Sowash is where you can find that post. But personally, I know a lot of people like listening to podcasts on YouTube. Personally, I like the audio. I listen to podcasts when I'm driving and working out and doing stuff. So to me, podcasts is an audio format. But whatever you prefer, we've got options available for both of them. So appreciate your support, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you get your podcasts. Thanks for being here. All right, well, let's get after it. 10 links for May 2023. The first one I want to talk about is one that I think will be helpful. There is a new menu option that will be available for Google Docs, Slides, and Sheets that'll make it easier to find that missing feature that you cannot seem to figure out where it is. Google has continued to add more and more features to their products, which means it's harder and harder to find what you need. So if you can't remember where to add that checklist or insert special characters or whatnot, there's going to be a new option, a search option right in the main menu of Google Docs and Slides and Sheets, where you can search. You type in what you're looking for, and it will direct you to where that option is located. This will be very helpful. It's supposed to begin rolling out, I think, end of May. You'll start to see this. I know they just changed all the icons for a lot of these products, so you may have trouble finding them. This will hopefully help. So that's link number one. Should be a nice, easy, simple update, especially for students who are still navigating their way around some of these products. Link number two is something that is sadly necessary. Google has decided to add a spam folder for Google Drive. The spammers are continually trying to find new ways to inject their annoying content in front of your eyes. It used to be via email, and Google has really done a nice job cleaning that up. Text messages lately have been absurd. I'm getting so many spam messages, and Google, I have an Android phone, so it does a pretty good job of doing that. But you can also get spam calendar invitations. I know my wife gets a lot of those, and spam Google Drive files. So now you can mark those files as spam and send them to Google, and it'll teach Google's algorithms over time what to look for and how to prevent those from showing up in the first place. Unnecessary feature, I think. Unfortunately, for those of us in education, things like this continually cause issues because we also run the risk of students marking all of your assignments as spam, which sometimes, if they do it enough, can flag or lock your account temporarily, and your admin has to go in and unlock it. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if that will be an issue. I know it has been in the past for emails, something to pay attention to and look out for. All right, let's get into the I/O updates. I've got 6 noteworthy things that were announced at Google I/O. Now, Google I/O is an annual developers conference. It's a pretty technical conference. It takes place at the Shoreline Theater in Mountain View, right on Google's campus. It historically has been an invitation-only event, or you have to purchase a developer ticket. You have to be a registered developer to go. They shut it down for COVID. They began streaming it, and ever since they've live streamed it, which is nice. You can check it out. Now, this is definitely a technical conference. I readily admit that I understand about 50% of what they're talking about half the time. But it's interesting because you kind of get a sneak peek into some of the behind the scenes technical things that Google is developing. You can get a sense for what they're encouraging developers to work on, which helps you kind of sense the direction that Google wants to head. And I have some, insights or observations about that I'll share with you. So they had an opening keynote, which is kind of the main headline event. And that has been a place where Google makes some more consumer announcements. We have some this year as well, in addition to some of their more technical advancements as well. It's one of the few times a year you get to hear from Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, and some of the top executives. So it's definitely an event that's worth paying attention to. And if you missed it, you can watch the full live stream, or you can just listen to the next 15 minutes and I'll give you the summary of everything you need to know. All right. So here we go. A couple of updates from Google I/O. Now, not surprisingly, artificial intelligence was unquestionably the focus of the event. I mean, there were hardly any announcements that were not AI related or linked. And it's been very interesting to observe Google's response to ChatGPT. Now, in Google's defense, they have been talking about AI powered, and Sundar Pichai, his big emphasis for the last 7 years has been transforming Google into an AI first company. Even though that has been their message, ChatGPT really stole the show for the last 6 months because it's been the first truly revolutionary consumer accessible tool powered by AI. I mean, it's amazing. ChatGPT, we've talked about it on the podcast. So Google is trying to catch up and reclaim some of the spotlight. It's not like they've been sitting around. They certainly have been working on AI, but doing so in a much more cautious, slow manner. They seem to be throwing caution to the wind in some sense by pushing out a ton of AI updates, which you'll probably have various opinions about. Now, the first one that I want to talk about is the direct competitor to ChatGPT. It is called Bard. Google Bard, and it is the AI chatbot. And I've mentioned it in the past. Up until yesterday, this was an invitation-only product. You had to add your name to the wait list, and then Google gave you access. I've had access for about the last month, and I have been using it here and there a little bit. And it's pretty good. So, I'm doing a search right now, just one of the sample searches, very similar to ChatGPT. You type in a question, it gives you answers. It definitely is a little more stable than ChatGPT in terms of, I don't think I've ever received an error message in terms of like at capacity or you can't access it right now. It's very fast. So that's good. I mean, Google has an enormous amount of computing power, so no real surprises there. I have not found the responses that Bard provides to be as good as ChatGPT. Now, it's always getting better, but I would, as a science teacher, I tried this out very early, and I was getting just some like outright, completely false information. It seemed like Bard was optimized to always provide a response, whether or not it knew what the heck it was talking about at all. So I got some just absurd results that caused some concern. It does seem to be cleaned up a little bit. It is a little better now, but I still would give the edge to ChatGPT in terms of the quality of content that is produced. Now, Google made a couple of big announcements related to Bard. The first is that anyone can use it. So it is no longer a waitlist product. You can go in and sign up for Bard and use it right away. That's great. They also added a bunch of new features, some that are available today and some that are coming soon. One of the cool ones, which is available right now, you can get a response from Bard, and then you'll get this little button here where you can push the results to Google Docs or Gmail. And if I say I can ask it a data question, create a table of lab results on genetic mutations. So I'm going to get a table here, and it will allow me to push those results into Google Sheets. It understands, what kind of stuff there are and allows you to push that in. So they've announced integrations with Docs, Gmail, and Sheets, and then there are other integrations and other third-party tools that will be coming soon. This is very helpful. I mean, ChatGPT is great, but you have to create it there, and then you have to get it where you need it. So this kind of integrates it into other Google products. So I like that. That's a nice feature. They also announced a few other things, including visual results. So soon you'll be able to request images with a partnership with Adobe. They're able to create memes and do Google Lens, so you can submit a photo to Bard and then ask it questions about that photo. They did a funny one with 2 dogs. And it's also going to be citing the sources that it uses to generate the responses, which is a great thing. You want to be able to verify the information that it's providing. So those are some of the updates for Bard that were announced at I/O just yesterday. All right, let's continue on. More AI updates. The next one is that Google Search is going to be getting AI as well. Now, this again is something that you have to opt in to. So you have to sign up for this. And it's an interesting article from The Verge that I'm linking to that really highlights the challenges of integrating AI into search. So what Google is working on is that when you do a regular Google search for something, it is going to be using Bard to provide additional information at the top of the traditional search results. And depending on what you look for, it will give you different types of information or images or links or whatnot. And the example that they use is, search is only able to show you information that exists on the web. But a lot of times people are looking for very, very specific things that are not explicitly written anywhere. And AI is able to extrapolate from multiple sources to give you answers for those things. Without AI, you might have to perform, 5 separate searches to get your answer to your very, very specific question. And they use an answer about planning a vacation. If you said, plan me a vacation, well, that's one thing. But if it's plan me a vacation for a family of 5, one person who has a severe peanut allergy and, and we really like outdoor activities, that's probably going to have to be 4 different searches. But with AI, it can combine those all together by pulling data from different sources into one paragraph response. So it's really interesting to see where Google is headed with search and integrating AI into search. Every single time they talked about AI on stage, they talked about safety and security and responsibility and whatnot. They're obviously very concerned about giving people false information or making things up, and trying to do this in a responsible way. Whether or not they accomplish that goal, that remains to be seen. We'll find out. So there's a lot of challenges with AI. This article from The Verge does a good job of kind of summarizing some of those challenges. If you're interested in the future of computing and technology, and if you're a media specialist, a librarian, and you want to know what does information literacy look like 3, 5, 7 years from now, this would be a great article to look at and start to think about some of these challenges. All right, more AI coming up. So we've got Bard, we've got AI in search. Next up, we have AI for Google Workspace. Now, Google has yet again come up with a ridiculous name for their products. This is called Duet AI for Google Workspace. Not to be confused with Duet, the other product that they created not long ago, which was a video conferencing tool. Not the best at naming stuff. Now, this is simultaneously really awesome and terrifying, and this is where teachers are really going to start to be concerned about the future of AI integrated into Google products. So Duet AI for Google Workspace brings some of these generative AI tools into Gmail, Google Docs, Google Slides, and so on. So the examples, none of this is available yet. It's still under development. A couple of the examples that were given first, this was a really cool example for Google Slides. You have a slide deck filled with information and you need an image. You want an image that goes along with your slide. Well, this new AI feature for slides would allow you to describe the type of image you're looking for, and it would be created, and then you can quickly insert that image into Google Slides. This is great. We have a lot of concerns over copyright, students, just going to the web and ripping images from anywhere. This would allow them to specify a very specific type of image that they need. The example that I'm looking at right now says, giraffe standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, beautiful watercolor, and it creates just that image, which can be inserted in a couple of clicks. The ability to create images like this is really interesting, and I think has some good implications for the classroom. Now, an example that's going to be a little more controversial, especially in the classroom, is this new AI building block for Google Docs. So we've talked about smart chips in the past. So you can type the @ symbol, and there's a new assisted writing feature where you can describe what you're looking for, and then Bard, Google's AI tool, will write it for you. Now, the example that they gave was you need to write a job description for a particular position. And so you can ask the AI assistant to write that job description for you, and then you can go in and customize it. That seems reasonable. Now, obviously, you can see where this is headed. You could be like, write an essay for me, write a persuasive paragraph, write whatever. Google has been pretty clear that these features will not be automatically enabled for education domains, that IT admins will have control over these features, enabling or disabling them. I certainly can see benefits for teachers, asking the AI assistant to write a project description, write an IEP goal, create a rubric for me right within Google Docs like this. So that's great. It's an interesting new option. And finally, they have the same thing for Google Slides, or Google Sheets. You can take a spreadsheet and you can say, fill this out. You can summarize this data. The example they gave is, I got this email, turn it into a spreadsheet. Again, if you're teaching students how to build spreadsheets, this is a shortcut that you may not want them to take advantage of. So hopefully Google will provide educators and IT admins with appropriate controls to enable or disable these features. They have actually started doing that already to a very minor extent. They just added a on-off switch for Bard in the Google Admin Console. So if you're an IT admin, you can now go into the additional Google Services section of the console. It is labeled as experimental products. There's an app called Experimental Products. You can disable that, and students won't be able to access Bard, these AI tools, using their school account. Now, you can't prevent them from doing it with their personal accounts, their personal Gmail accounts, but it's a start. All right, a couple more announcements from I/O. This next one's pretty interesting. I sent it to a friend of mine that I've been working with quite a bit recently. It's called Project Tailwind, and it is an AI notebook that helps with studying and reviewing information. Now, the context that I'm really interested in for this product is OneNote. So I'm helping a school right now migrate from being a Microsoft environment to a Google environment. And it's all pretty straightforward, especially for things like, migrating Gmail and Google Drive, whatnot. But OneNote is a really unique product from Microsoft that Google really does not have a comparative product for. Some people would say Google Keep, but it's really not the same. OneNote is a really slick product. This could be it. Now, this is experimental. It's not publicly available. They're not even ready to release it into beta yet. But it allows you to pull data in from a variety of sources, and then it will summarize that information for you, give you reading quizzes. And again, an AI-powered tool for collecting, sorting, and summarizing information. I could see this being a marvelous study tool for especially high school and college level students. So I'm really interested. I've signed up for the beta. There's not a whole lot of information about it. It was mentioned during the keynote, but there's not much. I'll leave a link to the wait list where you can sign up. Again, it's called Project Tailwind. And when there's more information about it, you'll be ready to know. All right, this next link is thrown in here just for kicks and giggles, I suppose. Google did announce some new hardware, some phones and tablets that are available for purchase, including the absurdly expensive $1,800 Pixel Fold. So this is a foldable cell phone. It goes from a normal sized cell phone to kind of like a mini iPad almost. Similar to other foldable phones that have been launched. Samsung has one. I just cannot fathom spending almost $2,000 on a phone. I know people do. I mean, the most expensive iPad Pro, upgraded storage, and all the rest is, I think, pretty close to that price. Just seems absurd to me. I could buy like 4 Chromebooks for the price of the Pixel Fold. But, that's the trend right now. They announced a new Pixel phone, the Pixel 7, 7a, which is very affordably priced, $499 for the 7a. I have the 6, which I like. And then the final one they announced is the Pixel tablet. And this is the only one that I'm kind of curious about. I don't have a tablet currently. I used to have a Chromebook Duet, but the screen broke. Somebody stepped on it. And I knew this was coming out, and so I've been kind of holding off. I would be interested in a tablet rather than watching Netflix and browsing the web on a tiny screen at night. It'd be nice to have a little bit something larger. The Pixel tablet comes in at $499, but it is interesting. It comes with a dock. And the dock charges the device, acts as a speaker for the device, and then also turns the tablet into a kind of home hub type product when it's not being used as a tablet. So you can control your smart home. If you have like security cameras, it will display those feeds on the tablet. So I'm kind of curious about that. $499, a little more expensive than I would typically spend on a tablet, but if it can double as a smart home device, then perhaps it's worth taking a look at. So that's a little sneak peek at some of the devices that Google has coming soon. I think all of these are available starting in June. You can pre-order them today. One last announcement from Google I/O. This one is called Music LM. And you've heard of AI creating or writing text. You've seen AI create images. Music LM is the ability to create music using AI. I signed up. It's beta only. I signed up earlier today, and I just got access. So they're handed out pretty quickly. And I'll do a quick demo here that you can hopefully hear. Let me sign into my account. This is the new place. The AI Test Kitchen is the new place where you can check out all of Google's experimental tools. So let's open up Music LM. It's okay. So you get a simple text box. You describe the type of music you're listening for. So I would like classical music. So let's say upbeat or energetic. Classical music for a podcast intro. That's my description. I'm going to press generate. It's pretty quick. It only takes 3-4 seconds to create. And not sure if you can hear that or not. Got some serious oboe playing there. It gives you 2 different options. That was option 1, and here's option 2. That's all right. It's okay. I mean, it's created by artificial intelligence out of nothing. So I guess you have to be a little bit impressed, but I not exactly super memorable music. I am kind of interested in seeing the development of this. You can download these tracks, and it is an interesting idea to use this music for student podcasts or audio recordings. Getting royalty-free, copyright-friendly audio is always a challenge, and this might be a good option for students to consider. So this is called Music LM, music language model. If you're a music teacher, you can check it out. I'm sure there's all kinds of music theory ideas that you could bring into the discussion with that. All right. Well, those are my 6 or so links and updates coming out of the Google I/O conference. Lots more that was discussed. Some of it's super technical. Like I said, I only understand like half of it. So you can check it out if you're interested and learn more. There are more sessions happening. You can watch the live streams and check out any of the other sessions if you're interested in that kind of stuff. All right. Well, let's get into some more teaching focused updates for the month of May 2023. I want to give a shout out to Meredith Aker, who created a really nice year in review template for Google Slides. Now, this isn't new. I think I've shared it before, but it's really a great example. It's a really nice template with a bunch of questions that you can ask your students. Now, I suppose anybody could use this, but it seems to be targeted primarily for elementary students. Some things like, this year I learned, my favorite book, song, TV show, something I really love, I'm looking forward to. And then there's a spot for the student's picture. There's a bunch of different designs with different colors. So it's really nice. I've shared this with several elementary teachers, and a couple of them are using it in the classroom. I also created one for teacher year in review. So I'll publish that one. You can take a look. It might be a fun thing to fill out as a staff, some memorable moments from the last year. Very easy. You could do this in 15 minutes as a class, print them out, be a nice keepsake to send home with students at the end of the year. Thank you, Meredith, for making that available for free to everyone. All right, I got a couple of tips as you think about wrapping up your classroom and closing things up for the school year. I wrote an article and several videos on clearing the clutter, 5 tips for closing out the school year. Now, I remember as a science teacher, it was a process to clean up, organize, and kind of close up my physical classroom. I gave a lot of time and attention to my physical classroom, but I think we need to do the same for our digital classroom as well. Before you leave for summer vacation, if you can spend an hour to do these 5 things, I think you'll be much happier and more relaxed in the fall when you return. Number 1 is to return all student work in Google Classroom. That transfers ownership back to the student so that those files aren't hanging around in your Google Drive account. Number 2 is to archive your Google Classroom courses so that students can't turn things in, leave comments, and it just cleans everything up for the coming year. Number 3 is to clean up your inbox, archive all of those old messages, hide your labels that you don't need anymore. If you have the time, create new labels for the coming school year, get things ready. Number 4, organize Google Drive. Take a few minutes and look through your files. What can you delete? What do you want to organize? Clean up your folders, get rid of your homeless files, and just take a quick inventory. And then finally, clear out Google Calendar. It's super annoying to me, but every time you create a new class in Google Classroom, it generates a calendar as well. Even after archiving your classes, those calendars are going to hang around. And if you don't do something about them, you'll end up with 50 calendars, which just clutters things up and makes it really tough to find what you need. So doing those 5 things before you head out will help you prepare for a relaxing summer, and you're not dealing with last year's stuff when you return in the fall. Now, if you're not sure how to do any of the things that I just subscribed, check out the show notes for this episode. I've got a full blog post with details and videos that will walk you through each of those things with some tips and suggestions. Next up, a few tips if you are moving to a new school district or if you work for students who are transferring or moving to a new school or moving to college. I've created a video about the Google Transfer tool. Google Transfer is a free tool that allows you to move the Gmail and Google Drive data from your school account and push it into a new either personal Gmail or a new school account. You can move this between schools, any organization that uses Google. So I share this link each year in the spring as seniors are graduating and teachers are moving over to new districts. So I'll link to that video with some tips. There's a related video. If you are moving to a new district and you want to transfer your Google Classroom content, your previous lessons, rubrics, and instructions, it is possible to do that. And I'll share a separate video that guides you through that process. It does require some cooperation between your former school and your new school. It's not possible in all situations, but it can be done if all parties are willing to work through a couple of issues. All right, couple more final updates and resources for you. I was helping a school do an audit of their admin console. So I do these occasionally. I do, 3 or 4 a year, where a school will ask me to comb through their policies and settings to make sure that they're doing everything they can to protect their data and their users, and there's nothing, no loopholes or things that students can take advantage of. It's a challenging task. It takes many, many hours for me to do that. And I write up a report on, some recommendations, critical ones, and suggested recommendations. One of the things that I do is to perform an app audit or extension audit. So there's a new report in the admin console that allows you to see what tools your users have installed. And you can take inventory of that, and you can identify if there's any things that might be potential security risk or problematic in any way. And you can then decide if you want to remove them or update them in some fashion. So it's a really easy report to generate. I created a video on my admin bootcamp channel that'll walk you through those steps. Might be a good thing to do over the summer. Make sure everything looks okay, and you can remove things that might be problematic. Final link for this month. I want to thank all the people who joined me for Wednesday webinars. The last 2 weeks of April and the first 2 weeks of May, I opened up my Wednesday webinars to anybody who was interested. And I have 4 sessions that I recorded that you are welcome to watch on demand if you're interested. I did a session on being a YouTuber, a session on graphic organizers, secret Google tools, and there's one more that I don't even remember what it was. So if you're interested in any of those sessions, you can check them out, and you can earn up to an hour of continuing education credit for those. No cost for any of that. Happy to make that available to you. And if you feel like joining me next year, every Wednesday from October through May, I do a unique webinar for schools that subscribe to my Wednesday webinar program. Well, that's it for me this month. Hope your end of your school year goes well. All of your class parties and field days and field trips and graduations. It's time to celebrate the end of a year. Congratulations on making it through. Thanks to you, those of you who are watching this on YouTube for the first time. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll continue doing this. I'll have to try it out. Thanks for listening to the Chromebook Classroom Podcast. Great to be with you. See you back here next time.